Welcome back to Beginner Beading with Janet. Today we are going to start a new project. We are going to be making a pin with a cabochon, much like our last project where we had beaded around a cabochon and created a phone grip. This time we will be beading around this epoxy cab to make a pin to bring awareness to murdered and missing Indigenous women. Each kit comes with one of these cabochons and some beads, some banding, and a pin, and some red leather vinyl for the back. Oh, and there will be some thread in the kit as well. You'll have enough there for the project and more. So we're going to start with our thread. Again, we want two arm lengths of thread, and we want it just one single thread with a tail. So it looks double up here, but that's just a long tail. You want 2 arm lengths, and you want to knot the end of your thread so you have a little knot like that. So to start, we're going to decide which color we'll start with. Because it's red, I think I'm going to start with white so that the cabochon is framed in a color that will make it stand out. So I'm going to give myself some white beads, and I'll put the others aside. And we're going to start with our first row. So again, we're going to go through the back to the front to start, and we are going to give ourselves just enough space for the room for like half a bead, and we're going to pull our thread so that the knot stops at the back. Again, we're going to pick up 4 beads, and we're going to let them fall to our work. And I'm just going to pull it a little taut there. Put your needle in at the front of those 4 beads. I'm going to go down in front of the 4 beads, and then up through the back of the pellin in between the 2nd and 3rd bead. So. And we're going to push that thread through those last 2 beads, going in the direction that we're beading. So there's our first 4. Those will straighten out later, so we're not going to worry if they look a little wonky. Add 4 more beads. Push them down to our work. Tack it down in front of that 4th bead. Pull it taut there. Down through that pellin in front of the 4th bead. And again, you don't have to go in the direction I'm going. If you feel more comfortable going in the opposite direction, that's fine. Up between those 2 2nd and 3rd bead, and back through those last 2. Pick up 4 more. And push my needle down in front of that 4th bead to tack it down. If it buckles, you can just pull your thread. Now that it's tacked, we're going to go up through the back of the pellin and then through the 2 beads. And we're going to do this all. And I'm going to come back when I've got beads all the way around my cabochon. And then I'll show you the next step. Up through 2, and through the 2 beads. And I'll be right back. Okay, so I've made it almost all the way around. I'm just going to add a few more beads to this row. Again, it's going to be 4 beads. I'm just going to do a little bit of a measurement here to see how much room I have left once I put 4 on there. So I think I'm going to add 2 more just to see if that'll fill in the space, because we can do up to 6 beads if we want. We'll go with that and see if that fits. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack those 6, and instead of going through the, there we go. So that fits in there, and we're going to go through these 2 right here. Okay. And back through those last 3 beads. So not only am I going to go through those last 3 beads, I'm going to go all the way around my project. So that entire row is going to get 1 more round of thread. So you see there, I've gone through all of those first few beads. Getting a little tangle here. Let's pull that out. And see how that just straightened up my beads? I'm just gonna go through all the beads. This is really important that you do this, because this will make your row of beads look much more uniform than if you just left them. Beads. Yeah, at the end of your circle, if you only have room for 2 or 3 beads, then just do 2 or 3. There's no rules around how many you can lay down, but I wouldn't do more than 6. I would do it in 2 groups after that. Okay, so I think I went past where I started. So now I'm just going to tack down. So I've come up, and I'm just going to go down and tack, and there's my first row of beads. Well, maybe I do have to. So what you want to do once you finish a row of beads, tie a knot. So to tie a knot, we're just going to wrap the thread around the needle and pull it into a triangle, like so. You can see I've got it, and I'm going to pull that until it's all the way down. Put my thumb and pull, and there's my knot. I'm going to do that 2 times. Thumb and pull. Okay, so now I'm ready to start my next row. So I'm just going to bring my needle up beside my last row, and I'm going to do another color. If you prefer to do red first, you can go ahead and do that, or if you want the colorful ones first. I like the contrast of the white on this one, so that's why I chose the white. So here I go with my red row. I'm going to start with 4 beads again. And again, we're going to pull it taut and tack in front of that 4th bead and back up. Okay, and then back through those 2. Okay, so to me it looks like I might need 3 beads there. There we go. You can see there that those 3 fit in that space fairly well. Okay, so I'm going to tack it right in front of that very first bead that I put in. I'm up between the first and the 2nd bead. And again, I'm going to go all the way around with that thread through all my beads, just to give it a nice, consistent look. This just helps to pull all your beads together so they're all married and happily sitting beside each other. No fighting. Some people like to cut the corners off so that doesn't happen, that getting snagged on the corner of the pellin. We're going to go all the way around here. I usually take note of where I started and where I ended so that I know whereabouts I'm going to stop. But you can also check the back of your work. So there's my knot. I'm going to tack, and this is where you can make the decision around whether or not you want one more row of beads or whether you want to add on your banding. So this is going to be a pin that you wear on your coat or your shirt. And what we're going to be doing is adding a row of banding after our next row. So you can decide if you're... So it's going to be gray. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to do one more row of colorful just to add some color to it. Some beads. Some pretty colors there. I gave myself a lot so that I have lots of different colors to choose from. Again, we're going to go to the back of our work. I'm just going to let my thread go a little loose there. I just let it twirl out of being twisted around. So again, I'm going to do my little triangle knot with my thumb, pull it tight, and again, wrap my thread, pull it taut. And this is still the same thread I started with, so it's getting a little bit shorter, a little bit easier to work with. And I'm going to come up to the front again. And I'm going to do one more row with the colorful beads. And these are random colors. Let's do a blue one there. Random, but not random is what I always say, because you try not to put the same colors together. And tack, just like we did before. Between those two middle beads and through the last two. Okay, and an orange one maybe. I'm not even sure how many colors there are in this bead suit, but try not to be repetitive. It's hard to be random. I would say it's hard to be random, or to make it look random. Okay, and I will continue on around the circle, and I'll come back at the end to show you our 3 rows of beads. Okay, so I am almost finished my row. As you can see there, I'm on my 3rd row. Like I said before, you don't have to tuck that in there. And then we're going to do the whole all the way around with our thread. Green. I think I can fit 3 in there. And again up through the 1st and 2nd one, since I only have 3. And then we're going to go all the way around with our thread. If you liked the content of this video, feel free to subscribe. Comment below if you have any comments or questions about what I did today in this video, and I'll see you next time for the banding. Bye-bye.